Well, time for another secret of the universe, or something that's very, very cheap, that's going to benefit your health and have a multiple of uses out there. And that is using either borax, which you can find in the supermarket, or boron supplements, which are extremely cheap. Now, borax is a mineral, basically, and you know where it's really found? Where it's really found in plentiful supply on the earth? In California, believe it or not. This stuff has so many uses, it's beyond belief. In a way, it almost reminds me, in some ways, it's a reminder. It's not the same, but it's you know how baking soda or sodium bicarbonate is so useful in so many different ways, and as was used mainly in the 1800s and the early 1900s, like in the 1930s and everything, for all kinds of ailments and cleaning and freshening up. And well, borax has many uses like that, but it's so cheap that it can replace a lot of expensive products. Now, one thing, I'm going to tell you a few things that it's very good for. One is flexibility, arthritis, basically. I'm showing a flexible person here, a woman that's very flexible. But just as a reminder, borax, boron, actually used as a supplement. I'll get into a little more detail about it, but can help greatly with arthritis. Now, there's a few other things I already talked about with arthritis, which was MSM, which is sometimes referred to as DMSO2. And I'm going to produce another video on that, actually, and talk a little bit more about it. But I just want to point out there's other things for arthritis besides using the supplement boron. But boron has had some very good success. Oh, but the thing is, it's cheap. The other thing is with fluoride as a detoxer. You know, fluoride's in our water, and a lot of times people are having these problems with, I don't know, it's like this general condition, fibromyalgia, and women seem to have this a lot more. Fibromyalgia, right? And it's like their joints hurt, their muscles ache, could be fluoride poisoning. I don't know. But let me put it this way. Boron supplement is very, very inexpensive, and it's very safe. Now, I'm going to get on with something else here because I think, here's the thing. Borax, right? Borax is something that's sold in a box, and let me just explain what that is. Like if you look here on Amazon.com, some people don't know what borax is. It's actually a laundry pre-treater, right? It's like a cleaner. Well, this is what this doctor was taking, but I'm not going to say to take this, even though from what I read, there's nothing really in this stuff that's poisonous or anything like that. I'm going to recommend you get something like this from Swanson Vitamins if you're going to try this triple boron complex. You notice 5-star reviews from 9 reviews, so the customer feedback was excellent. $4.50 for 250 capsules. Pretty cheap, right? Or get it from Swanson, $5 for this looks like, I don't know, a couple hundred capsules because you get 2 bottles. Or if you get, well, it's cheaper if you buy 5, I guess, because you get 500 capsules for $10, whatever. But notice the ratings, reviews 5 out of 5 stars. So people have actually been using this product, independently reviewed it, and they say it's good. Now, what the doctor used, he was experimenting with it originally in the 1960s, was using this stuff. And I'm going to say, if you look at the Earth Clinic or something like that, it'll tell you a lot of uses for this stuff. But I'm going to get on with a couple things first regarding this. It was in the 1960s, it was doctors, PhD Rex Newham, experimented with taking 30 milligrams of borax a day to relieve arthritis. In short, it worked. Now, he was actually recommending to people to buy, the borax, like the laundry pre-treat stuff. And there's actually nothing in there that's really poisonous, but I'm not going to say anybody to use that. I'm going to tell you, go to the supplement store and buy the supplement itself, because I don't want to recommend something that somebody can come back at me and say it's bad. But to tell you the truth, I don't know if there isn't anything in this borax that is poisonous. But I'm going to, it's something else I also want to say, though, right here and now. When you're buying these survival supplies and stuff like that, you might not have the money to buy a pile of supplements. Buy the borax because it has a lot of different uses besides with the arthritis. I'm going to get on with a couple of those. Then the doctor knew him, just to continue the story, after he figured it worked with him for curing his own arthritis. That's what he said. You think he's a liar, but he seems like he has all the credentials. He had a problem, and it seemed to work. He then sold borax as a pill form to others as a remedy for arthritis. But he actually sold it as, he actually just recommended it in the pre-treat laundry detergent box form first. But, people were a little bit leery about something that was used against insects that they would put in their body. But, I don't know, just like I'll recommend that you take this supplement. A borax supplement will reduce daily loss of calcium by nearly 50%. Another statement, it's also an excellent fungicide, and borax has been used to treat Candida, which is a fungus in the gut. Now, something else that's used to treat fungi that's internal in the body is wormwood, a herbal type of thing you could buy, wormwood. That's what it's called. That's what the herb is called. And black walnut hulls. And sometimes you'll see a supplement out there that contains both of them, and they're pretty cheap. But borax, considering I'm showing this here. This is, actually if you go into Walmart or something like that, or some of these other stores, you could probably get this stuff for like $3-4 for this box. So this is a good thing to keep as emergency survival supplies, because it does kill fungi. It does kill fungi. Now, I know a lot of people talk about, they're always interested in sexual health too. Boron affects the metabolism of steroid hormones, especially of the sex hormones. It increases low testosterone levels in males and increases low estrogen levels in menopausal women. So it balances out the sex hormones as you get older. So that's another thing, besides helping greatly with your flexibility and with arthritis. Arthritis, it's actually been a cure for that. Now, the other thing is, it also will help detox fluoride from the body. How's that? I'm going to mention this guy's name, but I don't know what he sells, but I know maybe he does. I'm not sure if he does, but there's a lot of people say Alex Jones or other people sell you all these different things. Fluoride this, and you got a different way to get rid of it. I don't know what he sells, but I'm going to recommend that you buy the boron supplement, say from, I think the two cheapest places are Swanson Vitamins or Puritan.com. Those are the cheapest, best deals I've seen. I don't sell for them, and it has a reputation for detoxing the body of fluoride. So a lot of times women can, and I see this a lot with the women too. If you're married and your wife is crabby, you might want to give her some boron, because maybe she doesn't feel that well. I mean, there you go, right? So it could be worth its weight in gold in some ways, because, the whole bunch of pills, like 250 pills, is $4.50. And when his doctor took this stuff, he was relieved of his arthritis pretty quickly. It's not just joint pain, no, it's actually fibromyalgia. And also the detoxification of fluoride in the body, which leads to a host of different problems where you're having pains, headaches, and stuff. But it is a very safe supplement. It's a very, very cheap supplement. And you notice the reviews that were both, independent customer reviews that I showed very briefly on Swanson Vitamins and Puritan.com. All customers rated it as high a rating as possible. So, it's got good feedback. But there's other things you can do besides work with arthritis. It even kills clobbers fungi. So in other words, a lot of people have fungus, on the foot, from the toenail or something like that, or the athlete's foot. You put that on the borax. Now that's where you would buy the box form, in other words, $3 or $4 a box at Walmart, and you would put that on your foot, and it would alleviate it almost immediately, so the saying goes. But it's also good, like I said, to take internally, because it does work to help against osteoporosis of the bones, which is the brittleness of the bones. There's a long science to it, where if the body is low on boron, it tends to leach it out of the bones. and then it gets into the blood, and it gets into the urine, and it's excreted. So if you take it as a supplement, it's very good for the bone structure. But, you know, like anything, you don't take too much. But, hey, it's a dirt cheap supplement. It's very, you know, it's very safe. I mean, you just take the one a day or something like that. You know, you got 250 pills for like $4.50 plus shipping. It's not going to break the bank. And you might see some other effects from it, like a lot of people have. Like as I was pointing out here, you know, this isn't... And I also want to point out this doctor, he did double-blind studies in the 1980s, where it affected well over 70-80% of the people that took it. And they had a great relief from arthritis. So this Dr. Rex Newham, PhD, in the 1960s, he started experimenting with it. But later on in the 1980s, he actually did double-blind studies and shows it was very effective. But, you know, considering you can find it all over the place in California, and you know, you could scoop it up by the truckload, I can give you one little guess who doesn't like it. The pharmaceutical companies can't patent it. I mean, you know, California's probably got the biggest supply on the earth. I think there's one other country out there that has a whole slew of this stuff. It's Turkey. But, you know, it's found in a lot of places. But, hey, we got it right there on our borders in California. So, you know, you only need a small amount of it. So that's, I mean, really. So I just want to recommend this because I think it's well hidden from the public about how this can restore flexibility to the body, can actually balance out and increase low levels of sexual hormones that are needed by both males and females, can help, you know, which can help females with menopausal issues and things like that, and also the effects of knocking out fungi in Candida, and actually fungi from the outer part of the body where it might be around the foot or the toenail or something like that, and also about knocking out fibromyalgia and detoxing. What do you call it again? I almost called it formaldehyde, but I mean I meant to say fluoride, which is in a lot of different stuff. I mean, if you look at amazingly, like if you look at fluoride, is even in baby drinking water from Gerber, you know, to help the. That's what they say anyway. I got my other opinion on that. I think the people I'm talking to on here probably know what the deal is with fluoride in water. It's bad news. And I do have a video out on that because actually fluoride is very bad for the teeth even. Besides being a rat poison. But boron can actually help detox it. So several things, okay, just in review. It helps knock out fungi in the body, externally and internally. It works against fibromyalgia. It works against arthritis, and it works as a detox against what am I saying again? Fluoride. But you know, the thing is, it has a million other uses out there. Really, it's about as flexible and useful as baking soda, but it's not the same thing, and it's not used the same way. It's something you should actually buy the box form of it and keep it in your little survival kit for the, you know, the collapse of the whole system, which I'm semi-joking about. But, you know, I don't want to joke about it, but when I'm talking about it, it's something you should keep on hand. Back in the old days, you know, people used to keep things like borax on hand because it was useful for many other things. And it's got a lot of different things that came out from, like I was talking about more recently, about working against arthritis. But look how cheap it is. My God, right? It's dirt cheap. It's dirt cheap and it's plentiful. So all you males and females out there, and you know, I think actually the females are the ones that really have the problems more, or they say they do, about fibromyalgia, pains in the joints, and things like that. So give it a try. Give it a try. It isn't much money. But as I pointed out, if you look on Swanson Vitamin's site and Puritan.com site for supplements, all the customers gave it 5-star reviews. So I don't think I'm steering you wrong. And it's very, very inexpensive. But like I said, you know, that's probably the damn reason, because, you know, this good doctor talked about this stuff and he wanted to, you know, get it out there, Newham, PhD. But a lot of times, these people who are good conscious doctors that are, very learned and stuff, they don't understand the devil mentality of the money guys. I do. I understand them very well. So, just to have it as a nice tip for people out here, I think take a look at this and try it out. Try it out if you want. It's not much money. It's really nothing. So, and it can't hurt you, too. I mean, if you're taking one pill a day, it's a very, very safe supplement. It's actually something required by the body that's actually in the body. It's in foods, it's in plants, and just to go on a little further with this, in a lot of spas where they had a lot of arthritic relief from pain, from arthritic relief of pain from where people went into a spa and they felt a lot better, they found that they had a lot of boron in that spa waters and stuff like that, so it was getting into the body. And actually, even in Israel, that was a place, the spas over there seem to have a lot of boron in them. So there's a lot of, a lot of help for people who have arthritis. So it is proven that it does work, and not just the scientific studies that the doctor did, but also in what happens in the spas. So no BS, little known, very cheap. The big money pharmaceutical agent people hate it. Doctors hate it. I think it's great. So it's got a lot more uses though than when I stated here. So I mean, you could talk about it for hours, but just let you know. Heads up, good stuff. Get it in your pantry, get it in your medicine cabinet, and try it out if you got arthritis, or you think you got fluoride poisoning, or if you think you got fungi inside your internal organs or something, or whatever, and fibromyalgia. So it could work very well.